Welcome back, True Seeker. January 19th, 2018. Today, breaking news that Tom Petty, his death was connected to an overdose of medication, including fentanyl. And that drug became a focus in the media after the death of Prince, where his cause of death ended up being overdose from fentanyl. If you're new here, I predicted Prince's death before it happened by understanding this code. Every day in your media, information is presented to you by a code, and this same information code is how celebrities are ritually reported dead in the news, if you will. There's a song from 1983 called Murder by Numbers by the Police. The song's about the alphabet and knowing your A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. That's how simple it is to kill people by. So anyhow, today's January 19th. We write the date 1/1/9 in the United States, kind of like 119. I was talking about this the day Tom Petty died. Excuse me. It's funny, my girlfriend and I, we both had allergies for like the last 2 weeks. That's a whole nother side topic. But the grass is already growing here. It's been cold and the grass is growing. I can't figure it out. Something's off. This is, when you own your own home and you know when you have to mow the lawn annually each year. It's strange when your lawn starts growing and it's cold outside and you have allergies. Both of us get grass allergies in the spring. We've had them for like 2 weeks now and it's January. Anyway, Prince. He once said they're spraying stuff up in the skies and it's influencing our behavior and who knows what else. And he said that about 10 years ago, and most people still haven't caught on. Anyway, back on point. Today, January 19th, 119, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in Gematria sums to 119. They released their first album November 9th, 1976. November 9th in the US is 11/9, also like 119. And we've been talking about this. Fentanyl has gematria of 119, like the word suicide. And for a minute there in the media, there were suggestions that maybe Prince had committed suicide with fentanyl. And if you saw news headlines today, one of the big ones was Michael Phelps talking about how he almost killed himself once upon a time. And I thought, how interesting for the U.S. to report a suicide story about an Olympic gold medalist. And if I'm not mistaken, the one to win the most gold medals ever. So, this stuff's not a coincidence. Everything that's coming through your news is structured this way. If you're asking yourself, why am I hearing this story about Michael Phelps and suicide on January 19th? This is why. Every day, all news structured this way. So Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Fentanyl 119, we get Tom Petty news. Plus, if you saw the video the video I did on October 2nd, the day Tom Petty died, as the news broke, I talked about this right here. He died at age 66, 18 days shy of his 67th birthday. He died October 2nd. Today is 109 days later, or 3 months and 17 days. And this 317, 3 months, 17 days stands out huge because this is what we also talked about the day he died. 317 is the 66th prime number. He died at age 66. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, using the alphabetic order, sums to 317. And a second ago where it equaled 119, the difference is this. You see how this works? T is the 20th letter, so you had 20. O's the 15th, you had 15. M's the 13th, 13. P's the 16th, E the 5th, T the 20th, so on. In the reduction method up here, you use the rules of numerology. So instead of T being 20, it's 2 plus 0 is 2. Instead of O being 15, it's 1 plus 5 is 6. Instead of M being 13, it's 1 plus 3 is 4. Instead of P 16, 1 plus 6 is 7. E 5. T, you know why it's 2. You see, y is the 25th, 2 plus 5, 7. So that's the difference. And this reverse is the alphabetic order in reverse, which also has a reduction method that goes with it. And with these four methods, you can see the majority of coding you need to see in the media. Rock and roll has gematria of 66 with the reverse reduction, 317th the 66th prime. Dead at age 66, rock and roll star Tom Petty. He died on the last day of Capricorn. Capricorn also has gematria of 97, like fentanyl, like death, like Prince. These stories really started with Prince. We've heard a lot of them since. From Tom Petty's day to death to today, you could also say it's a span of 110 days and 3 months and 18 days. 318's related to circles and cycles, biblical number. There's 318 mentions of the return of Jesus. The Son of God. We live in a world where the sun cycles every day. Son of God. This stuff's not arbitrary. Anyhow, Prince died in Minnesota. And Minnesota has this gematria of 110. I'm sure everybody's thinking of Prince today. The Super Bowl's about to be in Minnesota. If you missed my work on the death of Prince and Denny Green in relation to the Super Bowls 51 and 52, please check those out. But I want you to know something about Prince and fentanyl and gematria. Prince has gematria of 38, 34, and 97 in the base ciphers. Fentanyl has 38, 34, and 97 as well. And these stories, again, really started with Prince. They have major overlap in the base ciphers. Minnesota also has gematria of 38, like Prince, like fentanyl. Remember that, we're going to come back to 38. Prince, when he was on the Tavis Smiley show, said, all we can go by in this world is prophecy. They opened up Prince's house in Paisley Park as a museum on October 6th, 10/6. Minnesota and prophecy also share the gematria of 110. With regards to both of their deaths being said to be overdoses, a common cause of death for premature musicians, if you're new here, there's a long list of words that sum to 113: dishonest, perverted, not true, not honest, not factual, disinfo, perjury, fiction, bullshit, infidelity, divorce, and really a lot more. This comes from the Talmud. Talmud is ancient knowledge from Babylon, just like this code of letters and numbers. All this stuff goes back to Babylon. The word Babylon equals 26. The word letter equals 26. The word spell equals 26. There's a reason there's a 26-letter English alphabet. This is all old world knowledge, and it is about casting magic. Partly, not totally, but that's a big part of it. Anyway, Baba Kamal 113A says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who isn't. You know, who controls your media? Who controls these entertainment studios? You know, who's running the show? It's not a secret. Today's date, the date of this news, January 19th, 2018, date with numerology of 38. Death 38, murder 38, killing 38. The day Tom Petty died, I covered how he had canceled his first show because he fell ill 38 days before his death. Prince's death had a lot to do with 38. A lot of these people's deaths have to do with 38. This date also has numerology of 58, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Star 58, and a whole lot more. Solomon's Temple, where Freemasonry's secrets are. I should mention that Purple Rain equals 58. Prince's death had a lot to do with that album. Michael Jackson died on the day that Purple Rain was, or the anniversary of the day Purple Rain was released. Both of those men were born in 58. Vanity died before the 58th Grammys, and I said then that Prince would be next by understanding this code, you know. But this is how it is. Murder by numbers, news by the numbers. I think the real reason they do this, they know that so many people in America are down and out, and they're watching the TV, you know, and they're getting this information, they're getting programmed. How many people want to get their hands on some fentanyl and maybe just go out the easy way? You know, that's the way it is with the news in the world and the people who create this news. They know they have all these depressed, sick, lonely, tired, exhausted, miserable people. You know, the people who control the world want the people of the world to be this way. It's easier to control people like this. Purposefully get them sick, addicted to bad things, you know, make pills the solution, and then give this constant reinforcement of programming. I mean, I can just imagine depressed people. Man, Tom Petty and Prince, they couldn't even take it. You know, well, why not me? But really, these people are just getting killed and then just used for these sick agendas. Somebody also asked me today about the death of Ernie Davis. He was the first African American to win the Heisman Trophy Award with the Syracuse Orange. That's the name of that team. He died in 63, dropped dead at the age of 23. Interesting that he won the Heisman with Syracuse Orange and he died in 63. In light of this, he won the Heisman December 6, 1961. He died a span of 529 days later, which has the number with the square root of 23. And the day he died, he was 23 years old. Plus, it was a date with numerology of 23. He died May 18th. 5 plus 18, 23. 23 years old. 529th day from the Heisman, which has a square root of 23. That word represents symbol. Symbol. You know, you probably heard that people are ruled over with symbols, symbology. You know, how many men are made into symbols? You know, sports icons, political icons, celebrity icons, used to sell merchandise. This was a different kind of symbol, you know, well-remembered star athlete who got a rare form of cancer and dropped dead. You know? I think if he got a rare form of cancer, he was purposefully injected with it. And for people who think stuff like that's silly, you have to realize we live in a sick world. These people are perverse. These people murder people by the numbers for ritual. And so oftentimes they get suspiciously sick out of nowhere at a young age and then they drop dead on the perfect date, such as this man. The day he died was also a date with numerology of 33. Cleveland equals 33, Ernie 33, Heisman 33, went by the name Ernie Davis. His birth name, Ernest Davis, has gematria 46 like sacrifice. Also interesting is civil rights and African American summed to 71. He was the first African American Heisman winner. And consider he won it in 63, the year before 64, the Civil Rights Act. That might be worth looking into. Civil Rights Act was July 2nd. Hold on. Let's just do it. Since I just thought of it in real time, let's just check. The Civil Rights Act was July 2nd, 1964. I know that. I'm just thinking about how the word brown is similar to the date July 2nd. Check this out. Date of Civil Rights Act. July 2nd. It's the midway point. It's the midway point of the calendar year. July 2nd, 1964. So let's see, from the day he died, which was May 18th, 1963, to the day of the Civil Rights Act. This could be interesting. $411 days, amazing. The word Freemason has gematria 411. This is also a number that has to do with murder and killing throughout history. Amazing. But understand, this is what's going on in the world. It's all ritual. It's all planned. The people who control this world have essentially written a script for us to live out. And perhaps they write it, half a century on in advance. And maybe sometimes they have to go off cue because things change up. But understand, this is what they're doing all throughout history. They have like a planned date for the Civil Rights Act. And the reason they're doing the Civil Rights Act in 64 is because of this. Civil rights, 64. And like I said a second ago, civil rights also 71, like African American, like his birth name. But anyway, Civil Rights Act in 64. Look at this. Barack Hussein Obama, the first black president, the 44th, 44 years after the Civil Rights Act of 64, elected in 2008. And I just want you to see African American in the septenary cipher, which is an important cipher. 44, Obama ran on hope using the alphabetic order. 44, also 64, But this is what these people have been doing all throughout history. And it's got to end. It's just sick. I mean, it just happened again at Washington State with a 21-year-old. It happens all the time if you pay attention. These people are not dying from what's reported in the media. You know, if you hear one of these big viral stories in the media about somebody's death, they were off by this code. And for some, some planned event to come, some more empty symbolism like the Civil Rights Act. There's a whole lot more to this. I'll link these blog posts down below, including the Browns winning the championship after his death. But if you don't follow my blog, there's a lot of important information I cover. I'm sure you guys heard about this meteor in Michigan that went through the night sky at 8:08 p.m. local. That reminded me how in Hawaii, if you didn't know, the tweet in Hawaii that was sent to everybody, or the alert, it came at 8:08 in the morning. In Hawaii is the 808 area code. This was the false alert with the missile. Then 2 days after this, the same thing happened in Hawaii. Or excuse me, not Hawaii. It happened in Japan 2 days later. And think about Pearl Harbor, Hawaii and Japan. 808. The number 88 symbolizes time. 4 circles have 1440 degrees, just like there's 1440 minutes in a day. Look at the numbers on the screen. It's masonry in high places that are abiding by this code. Masonic ritual 88. George Washington 88. Think about it. Freemason, 33rd degree. The first recognized president of the nation. Scottish Rite equals 57, like George. He's inaugurated at age 57. The Scottish Rite of Freemasonry has their headquarters in D.C. So anyway, if you don't follow the blog, lots of important information here. So many things, I saw a major parallel with the 1993 playoffs and the 2018 playoffs. You might want to check that out on my blog. It's this post right here. But yeah, just go through the blog. There's just so much important information. People want to know about LeBron James. People want to know about this right here. LeBron James going for 30,000 points and holding off until to do it January 20th. That's going to be his 22nd day of being 33 years old. Basketball 22, King 22. They call him King James. You want to know this information right here. The significance of his 33rd birthday being 153 days from the NBA Finals and his chance to go 4-5 in the finals. This is how your sports leagues are all scripted. LeBron James doesn't get to choose when he goes over 30,000 points. It's all part of the script written for him. LeBron James is the player in the part. That's what you guys need to understand about these sports leagues. When these guys enter the league, they're entering essentially a sitcom. It's one of these, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Except for, instead of pre-recording and putting out a filmed episode, these guys are doing live athletic performances every night with a written script. And again, they ensure it with technology. This world's got advanced technology. A lot of it we don't know about. Keep in mind also, they're playing Oklahoma City. I said before the season, Cavs will be in the finals. It's either going to be against Houston or Oklahoma City. Said that since before the season began. That's still exactly what I think. The Rockets have gotten a lot of big tributes, but OKC could be a different team in the second half. We'll see. And also, CBS and Bleacher Report covered today what I put out yesterday on the internet about how Google had the preview of the Super Bowl seemingly as Vikings and Patriots. I think they're trying to throw people off. Put that video out yesterday. Today's CBS and Bleacher Report are on it. This thing about Kodak Black, if you're interested. I was telling you guys about 97 and death. We'll see how long this young guy makes it. 20-year-old musician in the industry. I didn't want to talk about his appearance, but Anyway, this guy's born in 97. Recently did 97 days in jail. You know, this could be predictive programming for what they have planned for this young man. So, but everything, understand, all of this stuff in the news. If it's in the news, it was by this code. If you learn this knowledge, you can decode the story. Everything is a ritual in the media. Can't express enough, you know.